Welcome back. Add another threat to American workers' plates. Just as another 2.4 million people joined the already 34 million unemployed since the coronavirus lockdown began, automation is kicking into high gear in the retail industry. Gap is speeding up its rollout of warehouse robots with plans to more than triple its fleet by the fall. Gap stores stock up 11.6% as the clothing retailer says it plans to reopen 800 stores by the end of this month. Gap, along with the biggest names in retail, is a member of the Retail Industry Leaders Association. Brian Dodge runs the whole operation. Brian, what about robots and retail and returning? The three R's here, post-COVID. And it really makes you wonder, what does that mean to the entire industry and their stocks?
Well, I think those three R's all fit together around one other word that begins with an I, which is innovation. We're seeing an incredible pace of innovation right now in retail as businesses look to operate in this difficult environment and adjust to consumers who have been changed forever by the past 2 months in this COVID crisis.
Can I throw in two more R's? Restoring
Sure.
Retail to normalcy. Will anything about robots make people more comfortable about returning to the workplace?
So obviously, retail is always going to be a hands-on industry on some major level. So people who are going to visit stores are going to encounter associates who are going to want to serve their needs to the best of their ability. The robots that were announced are a really interesting innovation. They're primarily for distribution centers and helps fulfill e-commerce purchases and things of that sort. So we're seeing a tremendous amount of innovation, some that consumers are going to see in the stores and in their experience. It turns out that a lot of the practices that have been developed that around the concept of contactless are also quite convenient, curbside pickup being a great example of that. So consumers can expect to see more of that, and it'll likely persist past this crisis. Other innovations deeper into the supply chain, like robots and other things like that, will affect the service, but they won't be as visible to the consumers, apart from the level of service remaining high and getting better over time.
You know, we've done a story about contactless delivery by drone of cars. You know, the drone will show up and deliver you the key to your brand new car. So you really don't have to touch anything. But talk to me about what you're hearing from the war front here. We know that Macy's and Bloomingdale's, Macy's owns Bloomingdale's, Macy's had to shut down 800 stores in the middle of March. They're trying to reopen as well. I believe they only have about 100 stores now open. But beyond that, we've seen major chains file for Chapter 11 bankruptcy. Everybody from J. Crew to Neiman Marcus to JCPenney most recently. Do you foresee more?
There's no doubt about it that when businesses have been forced to close, they have no revenue coming in the door. They have expenses that they can't completely defer, and therefore it challenges their budgets. But these businesses are thinking through the long term. They're planning for the long term. In some cases, these bankruptcies and other financial maneuvers that they're making are with an eye towards how they can come out of this stronger and recover and serve their customers well in the long term. The important thing to recognize in all of this, we operate in an economy that is 2/3 driven by the consumer. So there's no replacing a functioning economy. So what these businesses need most is the ability to get back to some semblance of normalcy, which we're starting to. So they're focused on the public health, contributing to the public health focus area so that we can make sure that we're limiting the transmission of this virus and then getting the economy back open again. And so as you see these businesses reopen, you're seeing them employ really strong practices that should give consumers comfort to visit stores if they wish to and to make the purchase that they want if they'd like to receive them at home. Lots of great options for consumers right now.
Yeah, I would think, and I'm glad you brought up the healthcare issue because people are watching that so closely. It really is the one gigantic key to opening fully the economy is this possibility of a vaccine. And I wanted our viewers to not miss this news in case they're just tuning into business news for the first time today. And that is that AstraZeneca is still in phase 1 and phase 2 of a vaccine trial, but the United States has secured a potential 300 million doses if they do become successful. 300 million doses of this potential vaccine. So there are a whole bunch of companies that are taking, as we call them, shots on goal to try and come up with a solution here. At that point, if we do get that vaccine sooner rather than later, do you foresee a better holiday shopping season?
So that's the goal, right? We want to make sure that we are truly suppressing this disease so that we can all get back to the way of life that we knew before. And getting a vaccine, getting effective treatments is a key part of that. In the meantime, however, there's something that every American can do to help limit the transmission, and that's wear a mask. I keep a mask with me at all times. Right now, the retailers are reopening their stores and they're requiring their employees to wear masks, and they're strongly encouraging their customers to do so as well. The way I think of it is those workers who are in the front lines of retail right now doing incredible work are there to help you. My message to the consumer is the thing that you can do to help them is to wear a mask.